Welcome to another episode of the CPG Guys podcast. Our co-hosts, Sri Rajagopalan and Peter V.S. Bond, explore how brands and retailers engage with consumers online, in-store, and everywhere in between. And now, here are Sri and Peter. Hello and welcome again to the CPG Guys podcast. I'm PVSB, one of your hosts of this educational and entertaining journey about consumer engagement in a digitally driven world. I'm also the Senior Vice President of Commercial Strategy and Business Development at Fetch, a mobile consumer engagement platform. My co-pilot, he's a major luminary when it comes to retail media and connected commerce. I call him the old ball and chain, but you know him better by his singular iconic name, Sri. Hey, Sri, what's going on out in La La Land?
Peter, how's it going? What a pleasure to do this week over week with you, and I can't wait for our guest speaker today.
Yeah, we've got a real humdinger. He's a returning guest, second time on the podcast. Remember, after 5, we got to give him one of our jackets, right? That's the rule. So, aspirational. That way, he'll want to do a good job today, so that he can come to win one of those jackets. But in any event, yes, Sri, it should be a good conversation. Before we get to our guest, I want to remind our audience that all of our content may be found by visiting cpgguys.com. We have a great website with all sorts of rich content. We've got episodes organized into themes like retail media and loyalty. And of course, except for the merch store, everything's there is free. So please check us out at cpgguys.com. Also follow us on LinkedIn. You'll be joining over 18,000 other industry professionals, learning more about our industry and listening to all the content we produce on LinkedIn, including the weekly CPG Bites, the weekly Retail Media Minute, the weekly Gildenberg Omni Comment, in addition to quite a number of other content. So we got new content every day. Come follow us and also join the LinkedIn communities we've created, Retail Media Professionals and CPG e-commerce. You can find links to them in the digital liner notes of this episode. We're also on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Now we're on TikTok. We have a great knowledge drop series there where we have industry luminaries come and tell us about interesting pieces of knowledge that will help us all in pursuing our professional objectives. And of course, check out our sister podcast, the FMCG Guys, hosted by Daniel and Efrain. Go to fmcgguys.com to listen to fast-moving consumer goods luminaries in the European market. And of course, the new CPG Scoop, hosted by Jennifer and Risa. They conduct snackable conversations with industry veterans. That's cpgscoop.com. Also, both of those linked in the digital liner notes of this episode. And of course, we're proud to partner with Next Up, also known as the Network of Executive Women, whose mission it is to advance all women in business and to promote the cause of gender equality. Of course, we're actually in 2023 going to be formal supporter level sponsors of Next Up, which means we get 50 memberships, which we are going to judiciously allocate to all sorts of female entrepreneurs and business leaders who might not have the advantage of being a corporate member of Next Up, and they can avail themselves of all the research and the networking capabilities. So pay attention to that next year. And if you want to learn more about Next Up, visit nextupisnow.org/CPG Guys to learn about this great organization. Okay, on to the main event. We're back exploring our favorite topic today. Of course, we mean retail media, not baseball playoffs, though we do like to talk about baseball every now and again, but certainly not since our teams were eliminated this year. Our guest today is a second-time visitor, as I made mention, to this podcast. Earlier this year, he joined Lowe's Companies, a Fortune 50 home improvement company serving approximately 20 million customers a week in the United States. And his new role is VP GM of Lowe's One Roof Media Network, a robust portfolio of omni-channel advertising services powered by Lowe's customer data, real-time shopping trends, and proven market expertise. Here to speak with us about how brands can leverage their best-in-class marketing and creative services to help them identify, craft, and execute insight-driven omni-channel campaigns that map back to their specific goals and objectives is our dear friend, Abhi Subramanian. Abhi, how are you, man?
Good. How are you, Peter? Thanks for having me today.
We are so excited to have you here joining us, your second time on the podcast. first since you joined Lowe's, and we are so excited to learn about Lowe's One Roof Retail Media Network. It's a very exciting time. It's the first time we've had someone on from your particular retail vertical, so can't wait to learn more about that. Before we get to the questions Sri and I prepared for you, I think it would be useful for our audience to give us a brief overview of Lowe's, more than what I just shared in my opening, and where online they can specifically go to learn about One Roof Media Network.
For sure. Lowe's as a retailer has grown from a small town hardware store in North Carolina to one of the largest home improvement retailers in the world. And at Lowe's, our strategy is really rooted in serving our customers. We deliver the right home improvement products for pros and DIY customers alike, with best-in-class service and value across every channel and community we serve as well. The pandemic really transformed our customers' relationships with their homes, making a home more than just a place to live. I would say this amplified the importance of the home goods consumer and made the landscape even more competitive, right? And as a result, what I would say, brands were finding it more challenging to connect meaningfully and engage this growing and valuable audience. And Lowe's One Roof Media Network, which we lovingly call Lorman, was developed to allow brands to better connect with home lifestyle shoppers who have massively increased their online shopping through and beyond the pandemic. These audiences shop both online and in-store, and they use multiple shopping platforms for inspiration, creating multiple opportunities for advertisers to connect with us, right? And since we launched the network, more than 200 brands are advertising with Lowe's, and we're witnessing stellar exposure, engagement, and results for their investments. And we're also doubling down on innovation and offerings to captivate and inspire these shoppers, provide brands with more data and media opportunities, and to deliver outstanding omnichannel campaign experiences and drive sales at greater scale than ever before. And also to answer your question on how audience can reach us online, our existing clients and new prospects and agency partners, all of them can reach out to us through Lowe's One Roof Media Network at lowes.com. And additional information can be found online through www.lowesoneroofmedianetwork.com.
Thank you for that, Avi. And to our audience, don't worry about having to write it down. We have put hyperlinks to One Roof Media Network in the digital liner notes of this podcast episode, in addition to Avi's LinkedIn profile, so you can learn more about him as well. But thank you for that brief explanation. Sri and I've got a lot of questions. I know Sri in particular is champing at the bit to talk to you about his favorite topic. So let's set the basis for this conversation. Retail media is hot, hot, hot. Like I can't even touch the stove, it's so hot. Avi, why is that? What are the driving factors behind the explosive growth of retail media? Like everywhere I turn, every week I open up a trade website, I'm hearing about another retail media launch. What's going on?
Great question. And truly, I believe there are four key driving factors. First is obviously the first-party data at scale, right? The purchase data is now more reliable than the data coming from third-party activations and signals. With all the cookie deprecation, brands now truly understand the value of first-party data and purchase intent data retailers bring to the table. And second, I would reflect on enabling true personalization. Retail media will allow brands now to customize the message to increase sales, improve ROI, and provide a really seamless customer experience at the end of the day. And speaking of shopping experience, think about real-time ads. They're on our site, ready to buy a product. So there's no better time to promote relevant items to help convert. And conversions are just a click away for them, right? And for us as well. And speaking of which, tracking omni conversion, both online, in-store, and now through other fulfillment channels are made easy through the retail media channel. And providing clear ROI, like I talked about, and allowing our brands to invest more in the strategies that work best to boost their sales just creates the right flywheel for us and them. And they get clear visibility because the shopper journey can be clearly tracked to the actual point of sale, which is simply not possible otherwise.
Abhi, thank you so much for that answer and for kind of starting out with focusing on the flywheel of success for driving sales. But welcome to the show. Pleasure to have you again, and good to say we call each other personal friends at this stage. As Lowe's, as Lowe's sought to enter the retail media space, what were some of the things that was top of mind in terms of the imperatives to create something that's meaningful for both in terms of the capability side and the outcomes that brands want?
First and foremost is what I would call our core talent. While Lorman was not first to the market, we are confident we are bringing our best to the market as our team of experts recently assembled in the last year has been a part of many of what I would call the first generation retail media networks and has been the evolution, as part of the story, they truly understand what works and what doesn't. Second, I would talk about our technology and our core offerings, right? So we invested heavily in full funnel retail media technology and services so we can truly offer our brands and advertisers the audience, the data, the reporting, and attribution and outcomes they demand. And everything we have done has been through the lens of holistic solution that provides value and impact across the full funnel and shopping journey we just talked about, across the spectrum: brand awareness, consideration, engagement, and purchase. And we now offer solutions to help brands personalize omnichannel campaigns, including the closed loop measurement and the attribution we just talked about. We make it easy end-to-end to access and activate data and insights for our brands. And last but not the least, I would also talk about our partnerships. We like to build things at Lowe's, but at the same time, we have a very tech, digitally savvy product and tech teams that are helping us build what I would call the next gen MarTech through the MarTech modernization initiative that we have stood up. As part of this, initiative, we are also consciously pivoting what to build and where to partner to get the best ad tech stack to deliver the best-in-class omni experience for our shoppers.
Well, I know Shree's going to talk to you a little bit later about the partnerships you've established, but let's get to the full solution set that you're offering. You named your retail media platform One Roof Media Network. Would you walk us through all of the specific full funnel offerings that you have available for brands on-site, off-site, and even in-store? We'd really like, because this is a great opportunity for brands to really understand what you've brought to market under One Roof Media.
For sure, Peter. I would say in just a very short span of time, we have built out a pretty exciting portfolio of capabilities, right? Everything starts with access to leverage Lowe's first-party home lifestyle shopper profile data for audience targeting, both on Lowe's.com and Lowe's app across owned and operated properties. And I would also say the programmatic and social media landscape, right? Brands also get access to a team of partners and experts to help them build program strategies that meet their campaign objectives, at the beginning of the conversation. Brands share objectives, as part of the relationship that we're building, and together with the Lowe's One Roof Media Network team, they get to test and learn to optimize the sales and results as quickly as possible in the setup. In terms of capabilities, we started with our owned and operated, like I talked about, native display to begin with, on desktop, MWeb, and in our app. Then we created what I would call the sponsored products on Lowe's.com across the platform as well. In terms of really looking at our search traffic and how do you really deliver customized, richer commerce experiences and presenting relevant items without having our shoppers to hunt for those on the site, right? And to make it easier from a transaction standpoint. Over the last few months, we have also launched what I would call omnichannel programmatic activation powered by Yahoo DSP across digital, like the display, video, and connected TV. I would also talk about streaming audio and podcasts and digital out of home that really drive traffic back to Lowe's on-site and in-store for shopping. We've also launched a set of strategic social media partnerships dedicated to full funnel solutions, finding shoppers across all mediums, which not only provide great advertising experiences, but also allow our clients to take advantage of the viral shopping moments. Coming to next year, we'll be unveiling pilot opportunities for a lot of in-store activation that you talked about, to name a few, with overhead audio and also exclusive digital signage, as you're thinking about redesigning our front-end experiences and whatnot. And as I touched on it before, everything is wrapped with closed-loop measurement and insights, including in-store reporting, that makes it very enticing for our brands to bring in incremental investments to drive increased sales and kind of witness their greater ROI.
Wow. When I asked you to detail what you were bringing to market, I figured you'd give us a bunch of things, but holy moly, you've got a full suite of solutions. You weren't kidding when you said you've really come to market with loaded to bear, I guess.
That's absolutely right, Peter. And I would say what took, even in my past experience, other retailers had taken like 3 to 5 years to build the basic tech stack. We accelerated the path within Lowe's to bring this in less than 12 months.
Abhi, the question that kind of pops up to my head as we talk about closed loop reporting that takes you back to the store is, of course, data. This is creating very powerful data enterprise. So can you walk us through the different data elements powering the solution, and then what is the audience size that therefore you've collected over the history of time, and then what kind of transaction volumes are advertisers able to get access to?
Great question, Sri. As I mentioned, the home lifestyle shopper is so incredibly versatile and attractive to the media buyers. We have an incredibly deep understanding of what I would call approximately 100 million Lowe shoppers with more than 96 billion in sales that give us insights into purchase behaviors, preferences, and intentions. Our audiences are very large, like I said, diverse, creative, and engaged and like to shop. To put it in perspective with some data points that I'm allowed to talk about, approximately 40 million Lowe's.com alone each week, 20 million plus search and product details page visits per week, and every user is spending approximately about 4+ minutes as part of their browsing session. And I would also talk about the mix of the consumer base that we have, which is the DIY, do-it-yourself, DIY firms, do it for me, and the pros, the professionals, right, where they leverage Lowe's as a supply house. They use multiple platforms such as YouTube, Pinterest, Instagram, you name it, right? Constantly looking for inspirations and solutions. They're increasingly shopping both online and offline, right? And they're using different fulfillment capabilities that we have put in place. We are seeing a very digitally influenced, sales in store, and that is growing at a rapid pace within Lowe's. That makes our retail media network offerings even more enticing for our brands, clearly exceeding the benchmarks in the industry. If you look at our consumer mix that I talked about and the type of customers we have at Lowe's, it's roughly 75-25% split among the DIYs and pros to begin with, right? And of course, there is a deeper focus on driving more penetration for pros to continue to capture the new market share. And as you can recollect and imagine, our pros have a greater transaction volume and they have repeat purchases and frequency as well compared to the DIYers, right? So we provide actual behavioral segments for brands to tap into based on their purchase and browse behavior to drive the right shopping experience while they're shopping and really, at the end of the day, drive incremental sales and conversion for our brands.
Abhi, thank you for breaking down the acronyms that are relevant to your particular industry vertical. It helps our audience stay on track with the conversation, and that's part of our goal here, to be educational. I'll remind our audience that Sri and I are speaking with Abhi Subramanian, Vice President and General Manager of Lowe's One Roof Media Network. All right, so Abhi, in order for brands to want to shift their investment into the One Roof Media Network, performance marketing measurement is going to be a critical factor. What measurement elements are you delivering back to brands to help them justify their investment in your platform?
Great point, and a really good perspective. I would just begin by saying, like, performance marketing is indeed critical to convince our brands to shift the investment. And I would begin with what I would call, like, the measurement and insights overall are foundational to our approach, right? Since we look at our programs as part of a larger funnel strategy for each of our brand partners, unified closed loop reporting for online and in-store transactions across multiple channels within the digital advertising ecosystem, isn't just important, it's imperative to how we operate. We have built interesting insights around multi-channel campaign tactics with granular brand SKU level reporting, both online and in-store when it comes to Lorman activations. At Lowe's, we also have what we call as 360 co-marketing, right? It is based on Lowe's-led campaigns aligned to more of the enterprise marketing calendar, focusing on the key moments, supplemented by the vendor-led programs through Lorman, making the dollars work harder to drive the right traffic and conversion for our brands. It has now evolved into this twofold approach. So the key brands participating in this program, they get multi-touch attribution reads based on the spend and the channel mix across the funnel, with more the SKU brand level reporting for all brand specific activations. We're also actively looking into our ad tech stack to be ready to operate in a cookieless world that's fast approaching, with what I would call the ID resolution and modern MarTech that would truly allow Lowe's to scale our omni-channel approach, delivering targeted, richer commerce experiences and measurement to understand the true return on investment.
Sri and I are getting worried about this cookieless world. What are we going to eat now that their cookies are going away? Sri, I like my chocolate chip cookies. I don't know what we're going to do in this new world.
How about just the barks, the dark chocolate barks, Peter?
We'll have to see how that goes.
But to be able to do that, I got to imagine you are partners with third-party advertising management platforms, especially working with agencies. You have to brands have to create in partnership with you all an enormous amount of content to supplement 365 idea programming. And then do you have offsite programmatic partners like Facebook, Meta, etc., that bring scale?
Absolutely, Sri. Partnerships have been a driving force to help us move quickly, like I talked about, and efficiently to provide the value and the impact for our brands. We launched what I would call our 360 partner network that includes partners such as Criteo, Pinterest, Meta, and Yahoo, with so many more to come that we are working on right now, that is allowing us to create more tailored solutions based on brand-specific needs. And on top of it, we are strategic in enhancing our customer data, especially on our unknown Lowe's shoppers, based on what I would call the second-party data partnerships. We have worked with partners such as Bridge to understand behaviors of shoppers who haven't identified themselves as Lowe's shoppers yet, but we know they are based on their in-store transactions at POS or online as a guest user. Also, it is critical now for us as a retailer to grow our pro shoppers, like I talked about. Focus is to really drive better engagement with the existing ones, obviously, while also focusing on acquiring new shoppers in that space. So with the recent Yahoo partnership, the Connect ID that I would talk about, that is used to serve media beyond on-site, that allows us to then build lookalike segments and behavioral models on even a scaled 200 million plus larger pool of consented consumer base, given the context of the cookieless world that we are marching into, to win new shoppers as well. So together, as you can imagine, there is just a ton of work that we're investing in to be able to get better from our data offerings and also be able to protect, given the evolving privacy concerns, and offer this best-in-class omni experience for our shoppers.
All right, Abhi. So we've determined that you've got a great portfolio of offerings. that you've got robust measurement and that you've got some great partners that are enabling these capabilities. So I'm a brand, I'm excited. What is the best way for me to engage with your team to leverage OneRoof? And how do brands of all, is this something that brands of all sizes can avail themselves of?
Really good question. And I would say, we provide end-to-end service from strategy and goals to media planning and execution to measurement and optimization for the campaign. Some clients want and need white glove service, and others want just a small amount of help and access to self-service tools to activate directly. At Lorman, just like Lowe's, we meet our clients where they want to be and provide them the service and support that they need to be successful. At the most basic, I would say we ensure that the signals we send to our clients is that we take this business seriously, include the right internal alignment and engagement with our merchant teams to begin with, and our shopper marketing programs. From the beginning, we have been very conscious about being a strategic partner to our vendors and clients, and our approach has stayed true to those intentions. And really, that is what has led to really building an amazing set of partnerships with 200 plus brands that we have seen on the platform today. And we do believe this is going to become more of a basis to build even more meaningful partnerships in the upcoming quarters.
Great to hear that not only do you have very good partners across the board that you have put in place to be successful, but you also partner very well with brands as they build the annual cycle of programming and calendars for OneRoof. So here at the CPG Guys, as you know, Abhi, we like to end every show with a little bit of future forward. And in that regard, I'd love to ask you, if you've already built out such a solid platform, you refer to a little bit as MarTech developments with tech, but where are you looking to evolve OneRoof in the near future? And then if they want to get in touch with you or OneRoof, what's the best way for them to get engaged?
Absolutely, Sri. In general, what I would say, retail media will continue to expand across the commerce continuum into more formats and locations like we talked about, right? And then obviously supplemented and complemented with new ad products and better insights, measurement, really are going to be continuing to be the focus for evolving how retail media brings innovation and results to the brands. And it is no different for our thought process here at Lorman as well. Next year is going to be a very transformative year for us. We've got the basics up and running, and now it's time for refinement and what I would call scaling out. We are working on richer, comprehensive shopper experiences with more audience insights and deeper campaign intelligence, along with innovative ad placements and experiential opportunities to offer at scale to our brand partners. We want to make the media buying, execution, measurement, and consumption of reporting particularly seamless for our brands, making it more self-serve that will really help unlock the needed incremental funding to grow the revenue, sales, and conversion, right? With all of that, we are very optimistic and positive about what we have built, and we are looking forward to a very successful year and delivering the best-in-class clientele services in this space for our brands as well.
I want to remind our audience that all of our content is available at cpgguys.com. And if you think that you have something to contribute to this conversation in our community, drop us an email at contact@cpgguys.com. Maybe you can join us on a future podcast episode. Of course, at the top of the menu bar at cpgguys.com, you'll find ratings and reviews. Please go there. Give us some feedback. We want to make sure that what we're producing is achieving the objective that you have by listening to us every week. And of course, thanks to the 18,000 plus followers in our community on LinkedIn. We couldn't do this without your support. We're greatly appreciative that you choose us as a purveyor of knowledge and entertainment in your professional careers. Abhi, thank you so much for joining us. This was very informative. When we ask you on, the thing that Sri and I know we're going to get is very robust and very direct answers to our questions. And I think you delivered to our audience a comprehensive understanding of what Lowe's One Roof Media Network is all about. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Peter and Shri. Appreciate the opportunity.
All right, Shri, the moment is to you. Why don't you give us a summary of what you heard? My head's still spinning. There was a lot of content that Abhi covered today.
Yeah, why don't we start right up top, Peter? First of all, for a home improvement and development focused company to have the name One Roof itself is special. That's a pretty cool name. And you started up top by saying the goal at the end of the day is not to sell retail media, but improve the shopping experience for the shopper, your customer. And you track omni conversion and through all delivery channels, not just what happens in store and online, but even click and pick, things of that nature, which allow brands to focus on the entire sales flywheel with the visibility to all of it, which I thought was pretty cool. You use the word not first, but one of the best to market. When you're going to have solid MarTech and a MarTech stack and analytics backing that up, yes, you will be one of the best to market, no doubt about that. But then you follow through what you meant by that by discussing the end-to-end marketing that the platform allows with programmatic, etc., that drives data and insights to be the backbone of this flywheel that we kind of opened the show with. And you stress the importance of next-gen MarTech, and I'll get to what that next-gen MarTech is as you close out the show later. But it appears that OneRoof's first-party shopper profile data allows that sort of targeting and programmatic required. So given brand and its particular objectives that it has, can easily be met on the OneRoof Media Network. And then when we started talking about brand objective, you did acknowledge that test and learn is the way forward, which is great because instead of investing, whatever it is, $100,000 in a campaign, if you can start with 10, figure out if you're getting your cohorts right via programmatic, then you can expand it to the 100 as necessary, which I'm assuming allows some real-time feedback and learning. And most important thing you want to do in that test and learn space is you need to have closed loop reporting, which clearly you stated that you do. And another important piece of closed loop reporting, what is the attribution attributable to the in-store sales? And clearly you discussed that and having the availability of the in-store volume being impacted by the campaign as well. Also talked about the breadth and scale here, which is the home lifestyle shopper is very versatile, about 100 million odd in your database, or the breadth of your data that you have accounting for about $96 billion in sales. That's a big whopping number across multiple platforms is key to note. And most importantly, that attribution piece wrapped up in all this data is this attribution of how it influences the in-store shopper when they're actually going aisle to aisle to buy stuff, how you can a brand can actually influence them. Perhaps that can be done, as you said, by providing behavioral segmentation for brands, which is what a deep eye and keen sense of data and analytics does. I love the calendar-based approach that you said, which is brands can participate all year in calendar-based programming, and in return, they will receive attribution for every campaign. The keywords, attribution, in-store impact, every campaign coming together. Then through the MarTech stack, you refer to entering the cookieless world where Peter and I are scratching our heads if you have to switch to almond dark chocolate bars, but it's great to hear that you're going to be developing your own 1P platform across a variety of, let's say, almost like a DSP, offsite media as well, where you're going to use a cookieless world to truly understand what your shopper does. And, we'll have you back on the show when the MarTech stack develops to really dig into how all of that works from a tech standpoint. We asked the important question of, you can't run this race alone. Who are your partners? Clearly, the planning and programmatic cycle, you're starting to line up with the right partners and the agencies required. So indeed, you can work with brands as appropriate to do all your calendar-based programming. And then I liked one particular statement you made, which is meet clients where they want to be. And for that, the alignment with the merchants is a must-have. And you call that out in particular. Then we jump to the future. Again, I like the one word that you said about the future, which is we're going to deliver experiential opportunities for the shopper. I don't think I needed to hear more about the future, but you did clearly state where you're going to focus with this innovation on media buying, the consumption of stat metrics, and the best way to always do that is self-serve. That wraps up everything in one roof, Peter. How do you like it? Under one roof.
Thank you, Shri. That was a concise summary. I think you really nailed it there. So to our audience, thank you for joining us for this episode. And we look forward, Sri and I both, to speaking with you on the next episode of the CPG Guys podcast. Goodbye.
The content in this podcast episode is provided for general informational purposes only. By listening to our episode, you understand that no information contained in this episode should be construed as advice from CPG Guys LLC or the individual author, hosts, or guests, nor is it intended to be a substitute for research on any subject matter. Reference to any specific product or entity does not constitute an endorsement or recommendation by CPG Guys LLC. The views expressed by guests are their own, and their appearance on the program does not imply an endorsement of them or any entity they represent. The views expressed by CPG Guys LLC do not represent the views of their employers or the entity they represent. CPG Guys LLC expressly disclaims any and all liability or responsibility for any direct, indirect, incidental, special, consequential, or other damages arising out of any individual's use of, reference to, or inability to use this podcast or the information we present in this podcast.